how to successfully start short-term renting. Let's get into it. So short-term renting is the same as having properties that you're doing Airbnb with, Verbo, Booking.com. All this falls under a short-term rental window. Short-term rental for some areas mean renting for less than 30 days. Some areas it means renting for more than 3 months, for less than 3 months, and some areas it means renting for less than 6 months, based upon the state, the area you're in, also based upon the HOA rules and regulation. One HOA might say if you're renting for less than 6 months, it's considered short-term, we don't allow it here. So then you wouldn't be able to rent to rent less than 6 months there, so then that would not work for short-term, you'd have to buy somewhere else. So the first thing to know is before you buy, you must know what the zoning are for the property you're about to purchase. And also if there's any HOA, is there any additional HOA regulation? There's going to be county rules, there's going to be city rules, town rules, villages rules, and then HOA rules. We need to cover all of this. What municipality are you buying in, and what does it cover, right? That's very important. I am located in Central Florida, and I'm close to Disney World. So a lot of the properties around me is zoned for short-term renting, but that doesn't mean they all are. And because I've been here for a while, I kind of have an idea and know what property is zoned for what, which is pretty cool. So that's the first thing you want to do. So let's say you wanted to start out short-term renting. Does that mean you could only rent on Booking.com or Verbo or Airbnb? Absolutely not. We have platforms like Furnish Finders. Furnish Finders is a platform that rents to traveling nurses. So when nurses and doctors are traveling from different towns, different cities, and they're going to be at that hospital for a short period of time, they're going to want somewhere to rent. That's Furnish Finders. There's another thing called executive housing. They place executives. So as companies send their executives around the different cities and states to do different work for them, they need to find housing for these executives. So we have that. We also have direct booking. You could create your own website and do your own booking directly off your website. So short-term rental does not put you in this little box of only Airbnb or Verb or Booking.com. Short-term rental means you could rent to anyone that's looking to rent short-term in a short term. For an example, maybe somebody got displaced, maybe their home burned down or the home got flooded and the insurance company is trying to put them somewhere where they could stay until their home is repaired. So that would be short-term renting as well. So anything that's renting for 6 months or less on the broad spectrum of thing will be considered short-term. And before you purchase or rent something to do short-term rental with, you need to make sure that you're following all the rules and the laws. The good thing about having buying in a community that has a HOA that's zoned for short-term is the neighbors cannot complain because they all know it's zoned for short-term. Of course, you don't want to have noisy guests or anything like that. They're going to complain about that. But a neighbor cannot call a platform and say, hey, this person is doing Airbnb. Like, for instance, there are people that will call Airbnb and report another property saying they're not following their rules and make up any kind of lies they want to make up just to try to get that property shut down. Right? And that happens when you're outside of a HOA or you're renting sporadically in like a neighborhood that's not zoned for anything, and you have neighbors that might do that. So you got to be careful when choosing the property you're going to purchase. Another thing you want to make sure if you're going to do short-term renting is choosing the correct property in the correct location is going to be absolutely key. Once you choose the location, you need to know the marketability of that location. Is it seasonal? What is the seasonality? Right? Is it busy in the winter or slow in the summer? Is it busy in the summer or slow in the winter? Is it busy for 6 months and slow for 6 months? What's going on with this community? You need to know this because short-term rental means people are transitioning. And you need to know what is the transition situation in that particular community. For example, here in Central Florida, the busiest time for us is going to be spring all the way down to maybe the end of July, right? Beginning of August is going to start to slow down. September and October are going to be really slow months, so that's when you're going to drop your rates. It's going to start picking back up around about Thanksgiving, and it's going to be busy Thanksgiving all the way through to the end of December, first week of January. January and February, we're going to have our snowbirds coming, so then you're going to have people wanting to rent for 30 days, 60 days, because the snowbirds want to rent for January, February, maybe January, February, March, and then we'll pick up again back in the spring. So between March and April, we'll pick up again. So I know the seasonality of this area because I've been doing this for so long here. Wherever you are, you need to know that for a fact. Once you figure it out, I know you buy the property, now it's time to decorate the property. By the way, I'm also a realtor if I didn't mention that. And I also do lending, so I help in all aspects of this situation. Now let's say you buy the home. How do you furnish it? You want to make sure you have at least one king bed in the house, and it's going to be proportional to the amount of bedrooms. So if you have a 4-bedroom, you may want one king bed. If you have a 5-bedroom, you may want 2 king beds, because a lot of people are looking for king bedrooms. Think about when you're renting a hotel, when you're going away for a week, a few days, a weekend, and you're going to rent a hotel. Most people want a king bed, right? So you got to think about that. So your master should have a king. Another thing you may want to do is make sure you're getting comfortable mattresses. People are serious about their sleep. Many times I check into a hotel and the sleep is horrible because the bed is horrible. Make sure your bed is good. Make sure your pillows are good. Pillows are important. I was at a very known hotel 3 different times in a row, and 3 different times in a row the pillows were just horrid. So you want to make sure the pillows are good, and you want to make sure you have mattress protectors on all your mattresses, all your box springs, and pillow protectors on all your pillows to prevent any kind of bed bug invasion, because a short-term rental, people are traveling from place to place. They will and can bring bed bugs into your home. You want to make sure each bedroom has a ceiling fan. You want to make sure each bedroom has a TV so that there's no fighting. I went to a Airbnb in California back in July for my grandson's graduation, and they only had 2 TVs in this 5-bedroom house. It was not a good idea. Not a good thing at all. So make sure you have a TV in each bedroom. TVs are not that expensive anymore. Make sure they're also all smart TVs. Make sure you have strong, sturdy furniture. And the one thing people look out for is a fully stocked kitchen. So you want to put stuff like mixers, Keurig machine, a coffee machine, blenders, casserole dishes, baking sheets, baking cans, stuff that's not normally thought about. You want to make sure that's there, because if you're doing short-term renting, you're going to have different people staying different times, and you want to make sure the home is fully equipped. You also want to make sure you have 2 sheet sets per bed and 2 comforters per bed. So if people are staying for more than a week, let's say they're staying for a month or 2, they're going to want to change the sheets and the comforters. I know there's a washing machine and dryer hopefully in your unit, but you still want to give them a choice of changing that. So these are some of the things you want to take into consideration if you're planning to start short-term renting a property. So you could even short-term rent a room in your house if you wanted to, but that's a different topic. So in any case, if you're trying to do short-term renting, these are some of the things you're going to pay attention to. If you want to do any kind of consultation with us, or if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to call or text 407-791-4713. We can help you locate the property. We can help you design and decorate the property. And then we could even help you to manage the property if you so desire. Thank you so much for listening. And this is Sandy again. I'm a licensed realtor here in the Central Florida area, but I have a network all across the U.S. And thank you so much for listening.